is a bounce rate? Hey boutique owner and other e-commerce friends, today is a super juicy topic, bounce rates. Maybe you're asking, is my bounce rate too high? How can I reduce or improve bounce rates on my site? Or how do I get people to stay longer and convert into customers? Or what the heck even is a bounce rate? Well, that's exactly what we're talking about today. And P.S., if you want to make sure you never miss our latest videos, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications too. Okay, let's dive in. Okay, so let's start with the lowdown on bounce rates. So what even is a bounce rate, right? The definition is the percentage of users who land on your website but leave without going to a second page, which means they're probably not checking out, right? So high bounce rates can point to website or content on your website, like issues with those, right? 60 to 70% is about average in our industry in terms of bounce rate. So you want to aim to at least be there, if not even lower, right? So let's talk about how you can improve your bounce rates. So first of all, make sure that your site loads quickly as possible. If somebody hits your site and it takes 10 seconds, that's a stretch. Most websites will not take nearly that long, but you get the idea. If it takes, really, literally every second matters. Because if you can imagine that you're scrolling on Facebook or Instagram and you actually are intrigued enough to hit on a link, if it takes more than a couple of seconds to load, you're just going to be out of there. You're like, never mind, I don't got time for this, right? So there's a few ways to do this. You can make sure that you're on the best theme possible. We really recommend the out of the sandbox themes like Turbo, for example. They really are built with speed in mind. Now, that's not enough all on its own. You also want to make sure that your images and graphics are optimized so that they're not taking forever to load. It also matters what extra apps or integrations that you may have set up on your website, because those can really slow things down. This is why I don't always like more apps is not better. You really want to be thoughtful about the apps that you add to your site, because they can easily slow things down, especially if they have clunky coding, because you don't know who made that app. Anybody can go into the app store really and make an app. You don't know if you can trust the coding that was done on it, and also if that coding really meshes with the particular theme that you have, because every theme is different. So when you can have a special feature that's already built into your theme, or that can be coded into your theme, that's going to be always the better option. And then your last resort should be an app if you need it. And some things you do need an app for. But anyway, all right, let's just move on. So the other thing is make sure that you make navigation really easy. If they get to your site and they're there long enough for it to load, if they have to play some guessing games in terms of like how to get to exactly what they're looking for, again, they're going to bounce. So make sure that you make it really easy, like have the proper call to actions right on your homepage for your main categories, or your best-selling categories. And then make sure that your menu is just really well organized. You don't want any laundry lists on your menu to where they have to read through like a list a mile long to even find what they want. And so if you have a really large catalog, that's when you want to utilize mega menus to just really organize into categories and subcategories, and maybe even subcategories if you have a large enough catalog. So we've talked about clear menu structure as well already. So make sure your theme is responsive on mobile. So another reason to have a really great theme is that you want to make sure that how it looks and acts and functions on desktop is nearly the same on mobile, or even better. The idea with basically responsiveness just simply means like, is this website optimized for the device that I'm looking at it on? So like when you do changes on your website, for example, make sure you focus on both. I know that you may be on your computer when you're making changes and testing it all out and all of that stuff. But then when you're done, make sure you also check it on your phone and make sure everything works smoothly there. There's nothing like blocking something important. Those are all things to consider. Display offers in your announcement banner. One thing that could help to get people to stay is if right at the top you give them a reason. So for example, my boutique says something like, free shipping plus seasonal payment plans equals your lucky day. So a couple of things. I'm pointing out right there 2 reasons for them to stay on the site and look around. And I'm making it a little bit fun and sassy, which is part of my brand, because all of those little things can help to get someone to stay and get someone to just enjoy the experience that they get on your site. Okay, so make your search bar prominent. This customer that's on your website, or potential customer, may be looking for something really specific. So make sure that you have a search bar right in front and center on desktop and mobile, and that it's really easy for your customer, your visitor to use. I also really like some of the features. Like if you go to my boutique site, thonginit.com, THONGINIT, thonginit. Like the flip-flop. Yeah, don't ask. We can talk about that another time. But what's cool, and I use Turbo out of the sandbox, like I've said. What's cool is if you start to type in, say, leggings, it'll actually drop down and show you the products available without even having to go to a whole nother page. Again, any little thing like that can help your customer to stay on the page, just making everything as easy and as quick as possible for them. Another idea, you may or may not want to do this. It depends on your bandwidth and availability and just whether this makes sense for your business and how large of a business you are. But one thing you could do is offer a 24-hour live chat feature, just so that those that are visiting and maybe they have a question or are confused or can't find something, have a really quick, easy way to just click in and chat and ask a question, right? But you also obviously need to make sure that you have somebody available to answer those questions, because they are not going to wait around. They need an answer right then. So you want to make sure that you have this connected to like your Facebook Messenger, and that you have someone actually managing that and available to answer those questions. You want to make sure you have a really clear CTA, call to action. And while you may have several call to actions on your homepage, and you should, what I really mean by this in particular here is that the goal, like the overall goal on your entire website, needs to be really clear. So for example, if you go to my website, my Hot Mess Consulting website, hotmesshustle.com, and you look around on the homepage and in the menu, you should see that, obviously I would love for people to just book services with me right on the site, and they can. But, my other primary goal, my primary call to action is to get you guys to book a call with us. So you can see several, places that are right up front on my homepage, and even in my menu, I've made it a really prominent button. So it's clear this is the goal that I have for my visitor, right? So now obviously on a boutique website, your goal is going to be entirely different, but make sure that whatever your goal is, which is to get your potential visitor to actually buy something, right? Make sure that that's really clear in everything that you do, like how you have everything set up. And in terms of reducing bounce rate, make sure that that's a priority as well. So just anything that you can do to so again, if you go to thonginit.com, you can see even in the search bar, or if you scroll down to enter your email address, I've adjusted the copy in all of those little areas to just do what I can to make the experience fun and to keep that person on my website. One thing you could play around with in terms of reducing bounce rate is if you do have a video that happens to automatically play when your visitor hits your homepage, play around with turning off autoplay. Maybe that is deterring people. Some of this with bounce rate is going to be trial and error. So anyway, and this shouldn't be relevant for Shopify, but particularly if you are using some other sort of a platform like WordPress, make sure that you don't have any ads displayed on your page. So last, I want to just talk about like which analytics do you want to measure? And right, this is going to be utilizing Google Analytics, which could be a whole nother video. But just to kind of point out the things that you want to pay attention to, what is your visitors' average time on your site? So a good average is more than 120 seconds, which means they're really hopping around. They're paying attention. They may not purchase yet because again, it can take, especially if this is a cold visit or somebody new to you, it can take time for them to get that comfortability. But if they're there for 120 seconds, there's a good chance that they may be back as well, especially if you are then retargeting them, which is a whole nother matter of which you want to make sure you're doing. But anyway, also pages per visit, more than 4 is great. Again, it means that they're hopping around a little bit and they're not just immediately bouncing. And then again, your bounce rate itself, you want to aim for below 70%. And here's another thing that you want to consider in terms of your bounce rates is there's the bounce rate on your homepage, but there's also bounce rates on every single page that you could imagine because your visitors may not always be hitting, and most likely they're not always hitting the homepage first. Every single product page is actually its own landing page because, when you're sending an email or when you're posting on social media, a lot of time you may be linking directly to your homepage quite a bit, but I'm willing to guess that you are also linking to specific collections or specific product pages a lot too. So you want to consider every single page on your website when it comes to all of this. And when you're looking at the data, you can actually see what your bounce rates are and all of this other good stuff on each page. So one good idea is to really focus on the particular pages, and that's whether it's your homepage, whether it's a specific collection, maybe your new arrivals, whether there's a particular product or two that really get the most hits for some reason. Like if you had something that went viral on Pinterest and you have one product page that in particular that's getting a ton of hits, focus on those pages first in terms of optimizing them to reduce bounce rate because that's where you're going to have the biggest impact, right? So anyway, there you have it. So that's pretty much the best advice I've got for you on reducing or improving those bounce rates. I hope it's been useful, but each website is so different and it's worth taking the time to go and check these things and keep an eye on your analytics. If you've got a top takeaway, I'd love you to share that with me in the comments. And let me know if you have any questions about Shopify or e-commerce in general. I'd love to help. If you like this content and want to hear more from me, hit subscribe and hit the bell for notifications to get notified when I release a new video. That's all for now, friends. I'll see you next time here on the Hot Mess Consulting channel. Need more? Check out the blog at hotmessblog.com. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel too. Cheers!